people on that conference committee got the impression that this was a worked out deal and that you reneged on the deal that was made.
There was no deal. We were not part of the discussions on the taxes at all. I did consistently say, and I had vetoed, frankly, this transfer of funds with regard to the indigent defense, because that's not acceptable and it's a bad budgeting practice. And that's something that I promised to do when I was elected. And so we've been very consistent throughout. We gave them no indications that these tax changes that they had in that bill were accepted.
Do you still feel like you can work in good faith with Senate Democrats after this action bill?
Well, yes. I have worked with Senate Democrats most of my political life. They controlled the Senate 14 of the 16 years that I was governor before. Senator Branstad was president of the Senate back when we did the major spending reforms in '92. It was never easy, and you've got some philosophical differences that have to be worked out, but it is a new day. The Senate Democrats need to recognize that you do have not only a Republican-controlled House, but you have a Republican governor who ran on a very clear and specific platform, very focused on fiscal responsibility and jobs. That's what I focus on in this campaign, and everybody, I think, pretty well knows it. I promised the people of Iowa I would straighten out the financial mess, that I would get us on a biennial budget, that we would spend less that we take in each year, that what we would do would be we would restore stability and predictability, and we'd have sustainability for the long term. We'd eliminate across-the-board cuts and all of the uncertainty that we've seen in recent years.
Do you think you have some Fed spending to do? I mean, even the Republicans who were involved in that thought you had agreed to the taxes.
No, we made it clear. We made it very clear. Well,
To Scott Record?
listen, you've been here and you've heard what I've said, and it's been clear and consistent throughout. And we understand, you know, that now we're getting towards the end of the session, and not everybody's gonna get their way, and that we need to work these things out. But I made a commitment to the people of Iowa to restore fiscal responsibility, and that means a 2-year budget. The state auditor and I went all over the state of Iowa, promising the people that we'd restore honest budgeting. We would stop the games that have been played in recent years, which led to the problems associated with indigent defense attorneys not being paid, which led to the fact that we had a Medicaid hole of $540 million because one-time money was used for it. Those are the things that we're here to correct.
Governor, you said that you vetoed that because you were afraid that you wouldn't get the things that you really wanted. Is that because there wouldn't be enough money to do both, or
Right.
because
Right.
you wouldn't have that as a bargaining chip?
No, first of all, we said, and we've been very clear in adhering to these principles, that we're gonna have a 2-year budget, and each year, and we have a 5-year projection. And each year we're spending less than we're taking in, and if you do these tax reductions without looking at the implications of them in the out years, it doesn't balance in the out years. And we want to make sure that we have it sustainable for the long term. That's the problem of the short-term thinking that we've seen in the legislature in recent years. They throw together a budget that is so supposedly balanced for that year, but then the next year you have a big cliff. And obviously now, it's obvious that the federal government no longer can bail out the states as they did a couple years ago. That's gone. In fact, the federal government is facing a much bigger cliff than we are at the state level. And so that's going to have to be addressed as well. And in fact, there's going to be probably some reductions in revenue coming to the states as a result of what the federal government's going to have to do.
If the state can't afford a $16 million tax cut, how would they afford a $200 million tax cut?
What we've recommended fits in this budget, and it's sustainable over a period of time. And if you look at it, it's phased in. We put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into putting together something that's workable, but also something that sends a clear signal up front. This is permanent tax relief. It's designed to make Iowa more competitive and more attractive. It's very similar to what we did when we got rid of the tax on machinery and equipment for major manufacturing. And that worked, and it worked effectively. And it created jobs, and it grew the Iowa economy. And that's what we want to do, again.
How long are you prepared to stay here? They're saying probably won't be done this week. Are you willing to go right up against the June 1st or July one, where you might have a government shutdown or something like that?
Well, we went through that in '92. And remember, I called them back for 2 special sessions in '92. I don't think we should have to do that again. I think they understand that I'm serious, that we need to work together and resolve these things, and that we want to work with them to resolve it. I don't think it's likely to get accomplished this week, and I don't think we should hurry into making these final decisions. We need to make sure they're well thought out and that what we have is sustainable for the long term. And so I'm willing to spend as much time as it takes.
Are you prepared to call a special session if necessary?
Well, I don't think we should even speculate about that because the legislature's still here in session and it's much better to do it while they're here.
Do you think in general the earned income tax credit is a good policy or good economic development tool? I mean, would you accept it if it was in some strictly tax-related way?
Well, remember, the earned income tax credit really goes to lower income people. It's really to provide a supplement to their income. It's actually people that aren't paying any taxes that are getting the credit back. It isn't necessarily something that's going to create jobs. It will provide some income for some people. I would be much more focused on trying to create more and better jobs so that people can move up the economic ladder. That's where we put the focus.
So that would be a no-go in general then?
Well, I guess we want to look at everything and have the whole picture in front of us. And so we're not ruling anything out, but we're saying, I want to focus on those things that are most effective at creating jobs and growing the Iowa economy and growing personal income. I've set very clear goals, and that's why I say I want the tools to be able to create the 200,000 jobs and raise family incomes by 25%.
The depreciation that you use your item B to power to reject, business groups and Iowans for Tax Relief said that was job creation.
You know, there's a federal accelerated depreciation, and people are making decisions based on that. And yes, I think it has been helpful to business and farmers, but I don't think that, and the state has not had that for the last 2 years. And I believe that the approach that we're recommending will have a much bigger impact in terms of creating jobs than that. And remember, this is something that the businesses don't lose. They just don't get it up front. And the federal tax bite is much bigger, and so the impact of the accelerated depreciation at the federal level has induced people that are going to do this to do it anyway. And so the likelihood of significant inducement in addition to what's already occurred because of the federal is not that great.
How would you characterize ongoing negotiations over education funding for preschool and allowable growth?
Well, those two, I think, are things that need to be worked out. You know, we are ready and willing to do that. We've laid out a program. It's passed the House. We are very interested and willing to work with the Senate on those issues as well.
Governor, what's your thoughts on the proposed Harkin Institute at Iowa State University?
Well, I just first found out about it over the weekend. So I think it would be best that this would be deferred until the new Board of Regents takes office to consider.
And what were your thoughts about the articles of impeachment that were filed last Thursday? Do you feel like that would have been an appropriate approach?
No.
What's the incentive for Democrats to keep working with your office and with the House if they have a feeling now that their priorities are going to be vetoed?
Well, no, we have approved things that, for instance, I know the Senate Democrats were very interested in the supplemental appropriation bill that we did approve. So there were many things in there that they were concerned about. The indigent defense, money for the community colleges, funding for mental health and for the correction system. We also intend to continue to work with both House and Senate, try to work out a comprehensive approach towards mental health that will give us a uniform statewide system, better provide for the needs of Iowans, and also do it in an efficient and economical way. There's a lot of things that we can work together and work out, and nobody's gonna get 100% of what they want. I think they need to recognize the fact that it is a new day, and we have a new governor, and we have a Republican-controlled House that they have to work with.
Will people be getting paid for that indigent defense this week now that bill's been sent?
I would think so, yes, yes. The staff is nodding their heads, so that says yes. I know they've been waiting a long time, so they will be getting it. Okay, thank you.